Last class, as we discussed relating to the dividend theory, first we have discussed the Modigliani, sorry, Modigliani and Miller approach, that is also called as irrelevance theory of dividend. Today, we're going to discuss Walter and Jordan approach. It is called as relevance theory of dividend. Relevance theory of dividend. As per this theory, dividend decision is an active variable that influences the share price as well as the value of the firm. James C. Walter believed that dividend decision of a firm always affect the market value of the firm. Whatever the dividend decisions are there, no? As per James E. Walter, they are telling that it will affect or it will influence the market value of the firm. Here, they are also telling that it influence on the share price of the firm. What dividend decisions or influence the share price as well as the market value of the firm. And further they are telling in determining the significance of dividend decision, Walter related the firm's internal rate of return with the firm's cost of equity. What they are telling in determining the significance of dividend decisions, Walter related the firm's internal rate of return with the firm's cost of capital, and it is also denoted as internal rate of return is also denoted as R, and the cost of equity denoted as KE. According to Walter, if R is greater than KE, that is cost of equity, R is greater than KE, that is cost of equity, the firm should retain its earnings. What it means? If the rate of return is greater than cost of equity, R is greater than K, the firm should retain its earnings. Whatever the firm earnings are there, no, that should be retained in the business. The second option is what they are telling. If R is less than K, it means rate of return is less than cost of equity. Then what they are telling, firm should distribute its earnings so that shareholders can make higher earnings by investing elsewhere. What they are telling, if R is less than cost of equity, rate of return is less than cost of equity, then whatever the earnings earned by the company, that has to be distributed to the shareholders so that they can invest in some profitable way to get the return from that particular investment. In this situation, firm should not keep the earnings. But earlier situation, when R is greater than KE, that time firm should retain all the earnings, should not distribute to shareholders. In third view, what they are telling, if R is equal to KE. R is equal to KE. It means rate of return is equal to cost of equity. Then the firm can indifference towards earning retained or distributed. Firm have in such a situation that it can't difference whether all the earnings should be distributed to the shareholders or whether all the earnings should be reinvested in the business, right? As per the relationship between firms cost of equity and R, we can say that there are three types of firms are there. The first firm is what? Growth firm, where R is greater than K. It means rate of return is greater than cost of equity. It means growth firms, what they are, they have an opportunity to get the higher rate of return in the future. Therefore, they should retain earnings to grow more and must not distribute any dividend. They should reinvest all the earnings earned by the company in the business so that they can get the better opportunity in the future and they can earn the more rate of return. In this situation, the company will not going to distribute any dividend to shareholders. This is the case of growth firms. What is the second form? Declining firms, where R is less than K. Where R is less than K. It means where the rate of return is less than cost of equity. In this situation, these firms lack investment opportunity. They don't have any investment opportunity. And therefore, it should be distribute all its earnings so that the investor can invest it in somewhere else and earn the profit from that particular investment. Declining firms, they don't have any investment opportunity. So that they have to distribute all the earnings whatever they earned by the firm, so the investors, so the shareholders or stakeholders, whatever they are, no, they can invest that into some other profitable way to get the rate of return in a better manner, because firms do not have any investment opportunity in the case of declining firm, where the R is less than K. Third one is normal firms, where R is equal to K. Where R is equal to K, these are what firms have. Normal firms means R is equal to K, where the rate of return is equal to cost of equity. Here, there is no difference between the retained earnings, whatever the earned by the company, are distributed as a dividend to the shareholders, right? Because firms do not have ability to earn the huge profit in the near future. Firms do not have any ability or do not have any opportunity to earn the profit by reinvesting that earnings which is earned by the company. This is all about the that Jordan's model, right? So next we can see that what are the assumption of the Jordan and Walters model. According to this dividend decision model, if a firm has return on investment greater than its cost of capital, then it must prefer higher dividend payout ratio in order to maximize market value. What they are telling, if the company, if the firm has a return on investment greater than its cost of capital, then it must prepare high dividend payout ratio in order to maximize its market value of share. So what they are telling, when it has more return on its investment or more earnings than its cost of capital, the firms which are having more return than its cost of capital, then those firms should go with the high payout ratio, high dividend payout ratio, so that it can increase the market value of the firm, right? Then what are the assumption of water model? What are the assumption? What we can feel? What they are telling? The first one is the firm do not use debt or equity financing. The first assumption is what? The firm does not use the debt or equity financing. The second assumption is what? Retained earnings are the exclusive source of financing. Retained earnings is what? Exclusive source of financing. The only finances come from the retained earning, not from debt or equity. The third one is the firms R and KE are constant. What they are telling? The firms are rate of return and the cost of equity are constant. The fourth assumption is what? The firm either entirely distributes or return its earnings. What they are telling? Whether firm, whatever the earned by the firm earnings, it can distribute entirely to the shareholders as a dividend, or it can retain all the earnings in the business or as an investment in the firm. The fifth one assumption is what? There is no change in earning per share and dividend distributed. What they are telling? There is no change in earning per share and dividend distributed. The sixth assumption is what? The firm has a perpetual life. The firm has a perpetual life. The seventh one, corporate taxes do not exist. What they are telling, what their assumption is, seventh one is what? Corporate taxes do not exist, right? As per this, determining the market value of share according to Waters' approach, the determining of market value of share is combination of these two sources of income. What are those two sources of income? The first one is present value of all dividends, that is D divided by KE. D means dividend divided by KE, cost of equity. And second one is present value of all equity, all capital gains is equal to R into E minus D into KE whole divided by KE. This is what there are two sources of income. The combination of those two sources is equal to market value of share as per the Walters approach, right? What is R, what is E minus D, and what is KE? P is equal to market price of per share, D is equal to dividend per share, E is equal to earning per share, R is equal to internal rate of return, K is equal to cost of capital, right? Now we can see what is the criticism of Walters dividend decision model. It has been criticized on the following points. The first point is what? It assumes that there is no external financing used by the firm, which is not practical. The first assumption or criticism was, as per the first assumption, what they are telling, there is no finance from the equity or debt. But now their criticism was, it assumes that there is no external financing used by the firm, which is not practical. Without using equity, share capital and debt, the firm cannot be run because it is not a practical aspect. The first criticism. Second one, it assumes constant return, which cannot be possible. Waters model is what they are telling. It assumes always that constant return. Constant return is not possible because we know that there is no certainty in the future. It may be up, it may be down. Sales may be up, sales may be down, or sales may go 1 or 2 years as the same as current year. But it is not. We cannot say that the future business is the same whatever we are having right now. It is not possible. The third assumption is what? It assumes constant cost of equity capital, which is not practical as every business faces uncertainty. They are telling that whatever the cost of equity we are having today, we can have next year also, we can have coming years. It is not possible because cost of equity may change in the future. Now, the Walters and Jordan's model has been distributed as a Walter model and Jordan's model. Now we can see that Jordan dividend decision model. Jordan argued that for the relevance of dividend decision to valuation of firms, he believed that investors or shareholders prefer current dividend to future dividend as they are rational and not committed to take risk. That's what they are telling here. Dividend decisions are very relevant for the valuation of the firm. Whatever the dividend decisions are taking now, the dividend decisions are very important to value the firm. And also he believed that investor or shareholders prefer current dividend to future dividend as they are rational and not committed to take risk. Whatever they are getting currently, whatever they are getting the dividend currently, that is very important for them, which they may get in the future, because they don't want to take any risk because they are rational, right? And payment of current dividend completely remove the possibility of the risk. Whatever the payment we are having now, it can remove all the possibility of the risk which we may come across in the future. This is why when a firm retains its earning, its value receives a setback, right? Now, what are the assumption of the Jordan's model, right? It is an all equity firm. It is an all equity firm, and there is no debt as per this first assumption of Jordan model. The second one is the firms R and K are constant. Rate of return and cost of equity are constant as per the Jordan model, second assumption. The third assumption is what? The firm has a perpetual life. That is also not possible, and we can't say that perpetual life, but their third assumption is what? The firm has a perpetual life. The fourth one is corporate taxes do not exist. Corporate taxes do not exist. It is also not possible, but this is the assumption of their Jordan model. The fifth one is retention ratio once decided remain constant. Retention ratio means whatever the earnings earned by the company that has to be distributed, that has to be reinvested in the business. That retention ratio once decided, that has been constant for the lifetime of the company. This is also not possible because they are telling. Thus, growth Thus growth rate G is equal to BR. BR is the retention ratio, G is the growth rate, is constant. This is the fifth one. Then the last sixth assumption is what? K is greater than BR, which is equal to G, into K is greater than BR is equal to G. It is an essential condition to get a meaningful value of share. It is an essential condition to get a meaningful value of a share, right? As per the Gordon's model, the market value of the share, we can find out P0 is equal to D1 divided by 1 plus K plus D2 divided by 1 plus K plus D3 divided by 1 plus K, the same way Dn divided by 1 plus K. Take into consideration the growth rate G of dividend. What we have to change here? P is equal to E into bracket 1 minus B bracket complete divided by KE minus BR, or AR into bracket 1 minus B, that is KE minus BR divided by KE minus BR, right? By combining all these things, we can say that P is PO, that is E into 1 minus B divided by KE minus BR, present value of the firm is equal to E into 1 minus B divided by KE minus BR. Here we can say that G is equal to BR, B is equal to retention ratio, R is equal to internal rate of return, D is equal to E 1 minus B, whatever is there, A is equal to investment per share. Here the last thing is what? Criticism of Jordan's model. Or there, some are criticize this Jordan's model. As per them, the first criticism is what? Jordan model assumes that there is no debt and equity finance used by the firm, which is not applicable to present day business. They are telling the no company can run without debt and equity finance. They can't run with the retained earnings. Only with the retained earnings. The second one is what? KE and R cannot be constant in the real practice. Cost of equity and R cannot be constant in the real practice, because cost of equity and rate of return, they may every time they may change in the future, because cost of equity, what we are having the cost of equity today, that may not be possible, may come across in the future. As per and rate of return is always varying from year to year, right? This is all about Jordan's and Walter's model. In the next class, we can see the further aspect, whatever is there as per the syllabus copy. Okay, have a look and see one or twice till you understand. All the best.